Abraham's faith in God was not a passive belief, but an active demonstration of trust and obedience. It was a faith that sprang into action at the sound of God's call, a faith that was willing to walk the path of uncertainty, and a faith that did not waver in the face of the unthinkable. Consider the moment when God tested Abraham. With a heavy request, he asked Abraham to take his son, his only son Isaac, whom he loved dearly, to the region of Moriah to offer him as a sacrifice. Imagine the depth of Abraham's faith as he rose early the next morning, prepared his donkey, gathered his servants, and set out for the place God had commanded. Abraham's faith wasn't just about believing, it was about doing. It was about cutting the wood for the burnt offering, loading it onto his son's back, and journeying into the unknown with the fire and the knife in his hands. It was about trusting God's promise and provision, even when the future seemed uncertain and the path unclear. In the midst of this daunting journey, Abraham shared a poignant moment with Isaac. His son, carrying the wood and walking alongside his father, spoke up, "Father, the fire and wood are here, but where's the lamb for the burnt offering?" With a heart full of faith and a voice steady with conviction, Abraham replied, "God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son." This dialogue between father and son underscores the personal and emotional dimensions of Abraham's test of faith. It reveals a man who, despite his deep love for his son, was willing to obey God's command, trusting in his wisdom and his promise. In the face of the unthinkable, Abraham demonstrated an unwavering faith, believing in God's promise and provision. His faith was not just a belief in the mind, but a conviction in the heart that moved his hands and feet into action. Abraham's test was not just a personal trial, but a pivotal moment that shaped the future of many nations. This test came to a head on a mountain in Moriah, where Abraham was prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice, his beloved son Isaac. But just as Abraham was about to strike, an angel of the Lord called out from the heavens. The angel's words, a divine intervention, halted Abraham's hand, sparing Isaac's life. This moment was filled with profound symbolism. The ram, caught in a thicket by its horns, was more than just an animal conveniently placed. It represented a divine provision, a substitute for Isaac. This ram, provided by God himself, was sacrificed in place of Abraham's son, a clear foreshadowing of the ultimate sacrifice that would come centuries later in the form of Jesus Christ. But the story doesn't end there. The dialogue that followed between the angel of the Lord and Abraham was a powerful proclamation of a promise. The angel declared that because of Abraham's obedience, his descendants would be as numerous as the stars in the sky and the sand on the seashore. This was more than a blessing of prosperity. It was a promise of a lineage that would change the world, a lineage that would bring forth kings, prophets, and the Messiah himself. Abraham's obedience, his unwavering trust in God's promise, wasn't just about him or Isaac. It was about all of us. It was about a promise of redemption, of a Savior who would be sacrificed in our place, just like the ram in the thicket. Abraham's test of faith teaches us about obedience, trust, and the blessings that come from unwavering faith in God's promises. The story of Abraham and Isaac is a timeless reminder that our faith, even when tested, can result in blessings beyond our comprehension, shaping not just our future, but the future of nations.